Hi, I'm Aaron Oberholzer, and thank you for buying your wedge, the C3i, your new wedge, the C3i. Wanted to congratulate you guys. You've just bought yourself a better short game that much quicker. We're at the beautiful Desert Forest Golf Club in Carefree, Arizona, and we're going to tell you, and I'm going to help explain to you how to use your new C3i so that you can get the best results possible from this great club, okay? First thing I wanted to start with you guys is everything with this club has been optimized for the average amateur to make your short games a lot better that much quicker. As soon as you take this thing out of the wrapping, out of the box, you've just made your short game that much better around the greens, especially from that 40 yards and in distance, which is what this 65 degree is really meant for you guys. It's not meant to be hit far. It's meant to be hit close. That's number one. Number two, well, you can take fat shots right out of the way. They're gone. There's no more fat shots with the C3i, and that's just due to this new sole that we designed with the C3i. This new sole has got a lot more camber from the leading edge, which is this. This is called the leading edge of a golf club right there, the part that contacts the ground first, and then this is the sole, and this is camber. Now camber, if you look at camber, camber is the roll on the bottom of the club. That determines the turf interaction and how that's shaped, okay? And this is the high point of the camber is basically the bounce, okay? This angle that's created from the leading edge to the middle of the club is the bounce. The trailing edge is what's gonna give you the relief to get through and glide through the top, through the soil that we've talked about as this thing we talked about how it glides on top of the grass. This is why it glides on top of the grass. If we were to create too much more bounce or this angle was increased, it would bounce into the turf and it wouldn't glide. But because we created it with the proper amount of roll or proper amount of camber on the bottom, you're able to have that club go through the ground but not bounce off the ground and yet not stick in the ground like you would a normal traditional wedge, which has a much thinner sole with maybe not enough bounce for you, which is why guys hit a lot of fat shots with a traditional wedge. So this was created with you guys in mind who have a very difficult time getting out of bunkers, tight lies around the greens, especially wet tight lies if you play on wet bent in the Midwest, or you play on wet tight poana on the West Coast, which is what I grew up on the West Coast. This wedge is going to be your savior around the greens from 40 yards and in, because it's going to be really hard to hit it fat. Your mishits are going to be so much better. Instead of dumping it in the bunker, trying to go over the bunker, you're probably going to hit it just over the bunker and it might roll out for you. And when you catch it perfect, which is going to be more times than not, you're going to hit great shots with it time and time again. So I just wanted to give you a quick explanation on how that works and why the roll works and why the camber works and how it works through the ground. And then again, how the bounce works in this club. The bounce pretty much goes to the middle of the club here and then it starts to trail, like I said, and that's the part that helps you get into the turf but doesn't keep it in the turf. It keeps it gliding along. That combined with the width of the sole, that's what makes this club so deadly for you guys around the greens, all right? Let's talk about basic fundamentals when we're using the C3i wedge, okay? We all want to take a basic grip, a basic neutral grip, okay? Your left hand, the left thumb's just over the midline of the shaft. This is the midline of the shaft. Coming up right here, the midline of the grip. The left thumb should be just over that other side of the midline, okay? And then I like to interlock, but you can overlap if you want, okay? But I like to interlock, and those fingers just go right on there like that. Interlock between your little finger and your index finger on your left hand, all right? And then from there, that V, now you got perfect Vs pointing to the right shoulder, which is what you want, okay? Now, for those of you who have a hard time, the lifeline in your palm, right here, that should go right on the side of your hand, okay? Now that you have a proper grip, you can present the club face squarely, and that's a big key with the C3i. You don't have to open this club. We recommend that you don't open the club at all, okay? Because of the way it's designed with this large flange on the bottom. If you try to open it and get too fancy, first of all, you wouldn't want to open a 65-degree wedge, even if you didn't have this large flange, because the ball would literally go about 5 yards and it'd go straight up in the air. You could basically flip pancakes with it when you weren't playing golf, and we don't want you to do that, okay? So kind of like a spatula. So we want you to be, the reason we want you to hit this well and how you hit it well is because of this large flange. but it's square. You don't have to play it. You don't have to play it open. And when you play it open, that's what's going to happen. You're going to hit that, and this leading edge is going to basically skull right into the middle of the ball, and you're going to blade it over the green. So that's number one. When you open it up and you lay it open like that, you're going to hit the ground first with this. That's going to make it skip, and you're going to catch the center of the ball, and you're going to skull it. It won't be good for you. Okay? Play it square. Use the bounce. Use the camber of this club. Use that sole, and it's going to grab the grass, glide through, and pop the ball straight up in the air. That's exactly what we want to do, okay? So don't open it, keep it dead square. That's the way this club was designed to be played. And at 65 degrees, it's basically like you would be taking, if you were taking a normal wedge and you had to open it up, okay? You're basically taking a 58 to a 60 degree and turning it into a 65. The 65 is already there for you. You don't have to open it up anymore, okay? That's why we created it that way. All right, so that's number one, grip, and a little explanation on what the 65 should do to you and what to not to do. So when I say set up square, all right, setting up square to the ball is basically keeping your feet square, your body square, your weight 50-50. The ball could be a little bit in the front of your stance if you want to hit it higher, in the middle of your stance to hit it lower, or in the back of your stance to hit it even lower than that. And if you maybe wanted to hit it a little farther, you can play different shots with this golf club, but they're all from a square stance. They're all from very square positions, okay? No matter what. You can show us the other way too. Now, if we're going to go at this flag right here, this is a very basic shot. We're just going to go over a bunker, but it's a shot you guys face on a regular basis. And this club, it was designed to do this shot and to make this shot a lot easier for you guys. I know you guys have some guys have a lot of fear about going over bunkers or over a little pond in front of a green or anything like that with something in the way. And people try to avoid it. So you'll play left of it and leave yourself a longer putt, and you won't leave yourself a good opportunity for par. This club was designed to where you don't have to worry about that bunker anymore because you can swing freely and confidently. Now at 65 degrees, the one thing I do want to explain is that you have to swing it. You can't baby it. You can go ahead and swing it, and it's not going to go too far most of the time, all right? That's the one thing that you're going to have to do. You don't have to sit there and practice all day, but you have to understand from a square point of view, when you set up square to the ball, how far it's going to go with certain swings, okay? So for me, I know if the 65 degree with a full swing under control goes 65 yards. That's it for me, with control. So for me, around the greens from 30, 40, 45 yards, it's awesome. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic wedge to use around the greens. I have fun playing with it. So what you want to do, set up square. And when you set up square, remember what I said, setting up square to the target. So everything's aligned. Now, if you're one of these guys who likes to drop their foot back a little bit and leave yourself a little more open, that's fine. I have no problem with that. But if you can set up square with your weight 50-50 and the ball slightly towards the middle of your stance, you don't have to do anything else. And then from there, it's a miniature golf swing. What do you mean by that, Aaron? A miniature golf swing? Well, it's basically a controlled golf swing, only it's half. You don't need to make a full golf swing with this club all the time. Okay? It's just a miniature controlled golf swing. The weight of this C3i will come down on the back of that ball and will help propel it into the air. You can almost let it fall into the back of the ball, okay? Setting up square and swinging. I don't even have weight on my left side. Now they tell you to get weight on your left side. I don't even have weight on my left side. I just have the ball just a little bit further back. So remember, every time you guys get in a situation where it's wet or tight turf, or in a bunker for that matter, remember that you have this bottom. This is a fat prevention mechanism, all right? Right here, you will not hit it fat, okay? And if you do happen to catch it just a little bit fat, this helps you glide along the grass. It's not gonna stick in the ground and just leave it there. The speed in which you swing it with the way this was designed was gonna help you glide along the top. It won't let it dig because of the width of this flange and the way that it's cambered from the leading edge of the club to the trailing edge back here, okay? It's gonna keep it on the top of the grass, which means that if you do happen to catch it a little bit fat, it's just gonna glide and you're gonna get better contact with this wedge, which means you're gonna result in better mishits. Whereas a traditional wedge, you might dump it in that bunker. This wedge, if you catch it a little fat with the right swing and the right speed, you might just get over the bunker and trundle it to the flag. And if you catch it perfect, it's gonna be perfect, okay? So that's what you wanna do. So I'm gonna try to actually purposely hit one fat and see what happens, okay? Which I don't recommend this at home, but it happens at times. That was fat. That was way before the ball. Doesn't want to go into the turf. Doesn't want to go into the turf. I'll try to do another one fat. That one was really fat. That one was like 6 inches behind the ball. And it almost went in. So you're not taking any divots. That is because that is due to this flange. I cannot speak highly enough about what this can do for your golf games and how just taking this out of the box and taking a half an hour and going down to your local club and working with this for a half an hour in different situations, bunkers, tight lies, rough, it can do it all. And it's gonna make your golf game and your life that much easier just because you don't have to open the blade. You can set up square and just swing it. 65 degrees, set up square and just swing it. It's that easy. No opening, no leaning left, no having to adjust a bunch of stuff. All you do, if you want to hit it higher, play it forward. You want to hit it lower, play it further back in your stance. And always stay square with the blade. Don't have to open it up. Don't have to close it down, although you can. This is one way you can go if you wanted to play it lower. You can close it down and play low ones if you wanted to. Other than that, it's square. Square means, one more time, let me describe to you what square means. Square means taking this white scoring line that we have on the club, which makes it a lot easier to line up, okay? And making sure that that line is perpendicular to your stance, okay? So it's almost like a T square. You'd put a T on your feet and then make sure that white line makes 90-degree angles on both sides of that T. That's when you know you're perfect. That's when you know this club, it's a great visual for you when you look at this club and you look down at that white scoring line and it's dead perpendicular to your stance. When you have that, it's go time. Once you see that, you see it's not this way, you see it's not this way. Once you have that perfect T square, now you can swing it. I swear, it's the simplest thing ever, and it's gonna make your lives a lot easier on the golf course. Square stance, looking at that white scoring line, that is perpendicular to my body, and then it's just a miniature golf swing. So just remember, 2 things you gotta remember. Set up square. I described to you what square means, and now you have a great visual reference of what square is when you use the white scoring line and create a T-square between this line and your stance, so you know you're exactly square to your target in the distance. And always remember, with this flange on the bottom, okay, with this cambered sole on the C3i, you can't hit it fat. So don't be afraid to go ahead and get into the turf and take some turf, because this thing will rescue you when you do hit it a little fat. Your shots will still end up close to where you want them.